So if it wasn't obvious from the title and thumbnail, I am now 30 years old, and in this video I am laying out 30 lessons that I wish I had learned sooner. It's not that I have these all perfectly figured out at the age of 30. I'm sure I'll do another one at 40 and be wildly wrong about certain things. And some of the stuff I did figure out a little while ago, but if I could go back to my 20, 18, 15-year-old self, I desperately wish I would have understood these things sooner. Number one, karma is real. Just because you do one thing doesn't mean one good thing comes right back out. It's not a vending machine, but life has a way of tending to balance out the good and the bad. And for a younger version of myself, it was easier to fall into nihilism, to believe that nothing mattered. And realizing that karma is real is one of the first things that starts to give you a kind of regrounding in doing what matters, being a good person, having some moral fiber, and not just devolving into nothingness.
When did you figure that out? Like, how old were you when you realized, life kind of balances out?
Probably like around 26.
And was it a good thing that made you kind of realize that, or a bad thing?
A good thing. It was, in general, seeing things come around. Because if you're expecting it to be the vending machine, it doesn't come right back, then you start to kind of lose faith in it. But once stuff starts to kind of come around and you see the slow developing nature of that type of work and the satisfaction that comes with it, it's compelling. Having kids is awesome. I'm a new dad, so I don't have a ton of experience. I can't speak to the entire life cycle of having a child, but it injects your life with meaning. It allows you to ruthlessly cut out bullshit from your life. It gets simple, it gets really clear what is important and what is not. And the whole notion that some people have when they're younger, that life ends when all the adult responsibilities begin, is completely misguided. I got to meet one of my favorite people in the world just this year, and everything moving forward involves having another person so close to me that I love so much. And it's brand new. I'm just getting started. In that same spirit, number three, finding the right life partner is essential. Some of the most important work you ever do is not something you should take lightly. And once you have found that person, in so many different ways, your life gets better, gets easier, and the ceiling for the amount of happiness, fulfillment, quality of life that you can have goes up precipitously. I've been very lucky in that regard, and I remember specifically learning this lesson. I was at a breakfast with a billionaire. It wasn't like some small breakfast, there was like hundreds of people there, and he was speaking, addressing the group. And he said, people always ask me, where did my success come from? And I always say, if you marry the right person the first time, that solves for a lot of the things that throw people off the trail. If you've done that, you've got a fantastic foundation. On a more negative note, the water has been poisoned. There are microplastics bioaccumulating in almost all of our water supply. Whatever's being pumped into your house, you can go on different websites, more likely than not, little bits of plastic have run off into the drinking water and are contaminating it. You should have a water filter. You should have multiple water filters. You should try to reach spring water and drink that instead if you can. But taking for granted the fact that you have running water is not the same as taking for granted that you have clean water. Do your research, because air and water are actually the two most important parts of your diet. Some people talk about meat or veggies or blah, blah, blah. You breathe all day long. You should be drinking water with regularity. And if that stuff isn't clean, if that stuff isn't right, it doesn't really matter if you're optimizing your macronutrients. In a similar spirit, don't drink anything that wasn't around 100 years ago. That includes Red Bull Energy. Wasn't around 100 years ago. Probably not as healthy, as natural for your body to digest as wine, water, tea, and coffee. Go across the world, different cultures, different time periods, they were always drinking this stuff. And that's tied into a concept of the Lindy principle, which is the longer something has been around, the longer it is likely to continue being around. I think there's a much greater likelihood that we'll look at carbonated soda or energy drinks or some of these other newfangled beverages as actually being detrimental to our health than something that has stood the test of time, like tea or coffee. Next, inbound sales is 25 times better than outbound sales. That's not a real number. I don't have the data to back that up necessarily. But in my experience, having been both a smile and dialer cold caller and running a business in the present where 100% of our clients come inbound to us, there is a night and day difference on a number of different factors. Number one, when an inbound lead comes in, they are at least marginally educated on what your business is and what you do. So you are able to save considerable time educating the potential lead and just focusing on the short distance between an initial conversation and a close. Even deeper, there is an asymmetric difference to someone that has chosen you and their own psychological makeup once they've made the decision to reach out versus someone who is accepting of a cold call into their org. Number 7, this is more micro one, but I think it applies to just about everyone. If the only reason that you are awake is because you are looking at a screen that is emitting blue light, turn it off and go to sleep. There is nothing late at night that you could be consuming with your eyeballs that is better for you than an extra amount of time sleeping, ever. Number 8, this might be the most controversial one. Shampoo is a scam. Take a second to consider the premise of shampoo and conditioner. Let's remove the oils that your body naturally produces, and then let's use artificial oils and replace that oil with the conditioner. That is nonsense.
Do you miss the scent of shampoo?
Not at all.
Whenever I wash my hair less or like go through months where I just don't wash my hair as much, it is clearly healthier, but I love the smell of shampoo.
That's a stupid reason.
I know.
I'm gonna degrade my health because of smell. Number 9, regardless of the little tips that we have sometimes, finding the right business partner makes all the difference. Venture investors will tell you that they evaluate a startup through 3 lenses: the quality of the idea, the market size, and the team. But as an entrepreneur, yes, those 2 other, market size and idea, are important. But if you have something that people need, anything that is actually valid as a business and not some crazy underwater basket weaving scope, then having the right team around you not only will make your life easier, de-stress you, but will help you go further. It's a classic line: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. It has proven true in every business endeavor that I've gone down. Spend the time to find the right business partner, and if you lasso it to the other thing I said, the right life partner, you are set. Read books that are at least 5 years old. You don't spend all your day being a beta tester of new products. You don't spend all your day being a focus group for political campaigns and other marketing stunts. Why would you serve that same function for a new book? Even the most aggressive book readers only will read about 20 books a year. If you do that for 40 years, you will not have even read 1,000 books. Given the fact that your lifetime readership total isn't that high, why spend a single page on a book that has not been proven to have a meaningful impact? This one's from personal experience. If you haven't eaten lunch and it is mid-August, do not go to IKEA with your spouse or partner to buy furniture. That seems oddly specific, but trust me, it's bad time. Also in the realm of home ownership, home goods, you don't need as many LED lights in your house as you think you do. We just bought a new house. It's old, very dark. We wanted to brighten it up. We got super excited. We told the electrician, yeah, put more recessed lights in here, there, everywhere. They are so fucking bright that I can only live in my house with the dimmer all the way down. Number 13, public speaking is a muscle that you can build just like any other muscle at the gym. You need a lot of reps and you need a spotter. After I get off stage, Hannah, Ash, other people in my life will give me pointed feedback on how I can improve. Further, I will watch back the recordings of those speaking engagements, looking for areas of opportunity to improve. But even before all that, you need to recognize that usually the stakes are not that high. Yes, there are huge life-altering boardroom pitches that can change the trajectory of your company, your career, your life, but those are few and far between. And the only way that you will even get the chance to make a pitch like that is by getting a bunch of small bites at the apple, a bunch of reps before that big moment. The NPC meme is one of the best memes in modern culture. NPC stands for non-player character. Comes from gaming, where a human user going on some quest is moving through a map, a digital world, and comes into contact with a bot, with a character that has been designed into the game that doesn't have a fully well-rounded personality, but just has a few canned lines that they would regurgitate over and over and over again. It has no real resemblance to a full human because they have a very limited script of things that they can say. Applied to the real world, the NPC meme is useful in describing anyone who has a completely predictable collection of beliefs, ideologies, or points of view about the world. Whether they follow all the media on the left, all the media on the right, the idea that they have such a crystallized, stagnant, flat view of the world from their political viewpoint means that you can very quickly guess, without them even telling you, most of their beliefs because they are so rigidly tied to their ideology. Using this meme will tell you exactly who not to spend a single waking second discussing or arguing with. Number 15, halfway done, never burn a bridge. Life is long. Life ends at 25, 30. Wrong. Life is very long. You do a lot. If you work hard, if you actually are mindful, there's a lot of time for a lot of things to happen. And there's a lot of time for people to change, for different opportunities to bring themselves to you. And as a default, don't burn any bridges. If you need to consciously separate from someone, do so in a mindful and kind way. I'm not saying you need to see everyone as just a utility and their ability to help you in the future. That's also not a very healthy worldview. But it's better to not burn bridges. 16 is also kind of related to the NPC meme. You don't have to have a take on everything. Another thing that the news or pundits will trick you into is summarizing a very complex topic very narrowly, very simply, and giving you the illusion, same way you have an illusion that you've eaten fruit when you throw some Fruit Loops in your mouth, that you understand the nuances of complex policy decisions. Every time there's a new thing on Capitol Hill, the debt ceiling, this, that, blah, 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 you don't have to have an opinion on it. It actually is largely fruitless to have an opinion on every single thing that might come through. That's the pathway you want to go down professionally, sure. But most of us are just trying to live our lives, have a family, maintain our homes, and have some social relationships. Having a policy opinion on everything has nothing to do with that. Number 17 is develop the skill, calendar invites, email management, deadlines, because it is a real differentiator. They say half of success is just showing up. We've had a number of different interns at my company, Piper, and Hannah and I would only ever consider hiring someone who has shown a proficiency to show up to meetings on time, hit deadlines with their work. You wouldn't even be in consideration if you can't do those things. It's table stakes, but it is a skill. Books like Getting Things Done and courses like Building a Second Brain will help you with these skills. And if you don't have them, prioritize getting them immediately because they are applicable to a wide variety of domains. Committees suck.
Amen.
I've searched all the parks in all the cities and found no statues for committees. G.K. Chesterton understood committees are atrocious at getting things done in a timely way and getting them done at the highest quality. You need a small team with a clear leader, with a clear hierarchy in order to not only get things done at a high quality, but in order to move fast. I decline 100% of invitations to join committees with one single exception. If there is a specific thing that I believe or see needs done, and the only way to get it done, the last option, is to join a committee in order to get that thing changed, only then will I join the committee for the minimum time allotment in order to get that thing completed, and then I'm out. I don't want to waste any time there. Some people see it as like a social event. It's not a social event. My social events don't have anything to do with committees, and neither should yours. Stay away. Travel as much as you can, particularly when you're young. It only gets harder as you get a mortgage, as you have a family, and your responsibilities start to accrue. The beauty of a world that is adopting more and more remote work does mean that it is possible to find ways to do that within the context of a working life. But the best way to understand where you live in the present and where you come from is by visiting other places so that they can provide the contrast that makes clear what is specific to where you have grown up and to have a general appreciation for the wide variety of cultures that make living life interesting. Number 20, this is very tactical. I promise I'd give you some tactical ones. Do not order fish at a restaurant on Sunday. RIP to the GOAT, Anthony Bourdain. His book, Kitchen Confidential, explains how the shipments for fresh products come into restaurants on Thursdays so they can make it through the weekend rush. By Sunday, they are serving the stuff that they got multiple days ago, and they're trying to get it out. That's why there's a fish special on Sunday. They are trying to clear out their freezer of old fish. Think about it. Number 21, speak up and speak the truth. We all have different causes that we care about, but much like public speaking, speaking truth, calling out frauds, is a muscle that you can build. You have to do it in small instances at first in order to be able to do it at a big scale. And if you see a fraud and do not call it a fraud, then you are a fraud. That sounds harsh, but that is a helpful framing that I have used to get better at speaking up when I see something that is wrong. Number 22, be kind to your parents. By the time you have graduated from high school, you have likely already spent 90% of the in-person time that you ever will with your parents. If you have a good relationship with them, or there's some other guardian or someone that is that intimately important to you, be as kind as possible, make every moment count, because time is limited. Fasting is great for your health and not that hard. A regular practice of waiting to eat breakfast till past 11 a.m. has not only been good for my health, my digestive system, my overall weight, but it's really not that hard. There's a reason it's been a part of every single religious practice, and why giving your digestive system a break has so many positive health benefits. If you do not believe that it is possible, or if you say convincingly, I couldn't possibly go 12 hours without eating food, perhaps you need to take that challenge the most. We are not cows. We were not built to graze every waking hour of the day. We are naturally, primitively, biologically wild animals that would have a few meals during the day and spend the rest of the time resting and focusing on other things. Don't be a cow, be a predator. Number 24, mobility is just as important as strength. When I was younger, I'd go to the gym, I was trying to increase my max bench, squat, deadlift, all these huge weights. Those are still good, but these days I am way more focused on my shoulder mobility, my ankle mobility, to stay in a flat-footed squat for an extended period of time. That is going to serve me well into old age just as much as strong muscles. Today's sharks will be tomorrow's minnows. Everyone from an entry-level employee all the way up to the C-suite has their own collection of problems and challenges that they are facing. As an entry-level person in any industry, what seems like the biggest problems of your day are trivial to people further up the ladder. Recognizing this early will help you to contextualize and not be overwhelmed by those problems, but also to infer a growth mindset. If you have aspirations, if you have ambitions, or just a general belief that with experience and time comes insights, then you realize that your sharks will eventually be minnows, and you are simply on the path to discovering how. Number 26, most of negotiating is actually about finding wins for your counterparty. A lot of the conventional wisdom and memes about negotiating assume a zero-sum game transactional relationship, and sometimes that occurs. Yes, I'll go to the car dealership and try to minimize what I'm paying for the car. But most of the people I'm negotiating with are my partner, my parents, my business partner, my employee, other people that I will be interacting with again and again and again in the future. So with that perspective, trying to win every single negotiation is a decent short-term strategy and a fucking horrible long-term strategy. It will burn other people out from wanting to engage, wanting to interact with you, and is a bad idea. 27, go out of your way to get around smart, ambitious, kind, people. I started my podcast more than 5 years ago, and it has been transformative to get to be proximate to people that are sometimes 10, 100, 1,000 times more successful than anything I've accomplished. You will absorb stuff just by osmosis, just by proximity, but hearing them talk, asking them the questions that you have on your mind, most of them are incredibly friendly and willing to share what they know. But if you don't make the effort to get around them, you can't possibly learn from them. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around, and it is worth it to get around the right people. Number 28, be a doer, not a talker. You know who never had to tell people he was a visionary? Steve Jobs. You know who never talked about how creative he was? Picasso. They just went and did it. They did the damn thing. If you are a doer, there will be plenty of opportunity on the back end to talk about what you actually did. Number 29, very glad I figured this out early in my 20s. Lying is way less effective than you think it is as a child. There's all kind of tropes about parents seeing through a lie that their kid tells them and how much it hurts them when that lie occurs. But even into adulthood, some people just can't kick the habit of lying in small instances where it will help you. This is very similar to the negotiating idea. Yes, maybe a small lie here and there, or a medium lie here and there could help you in some small way in the short term. But over the long term, most people, particularly the savvy, sophisticated, smart people that you want to spend your time around, will see through your bullshit. And if you develop a reputation as a liar, that will put a ceiling on the opportunities that you get access to and will repel those great people. And finally, number 30, just follow Sidney Ross and listen to everything that he says, because he has like 1,000 different life hacks that I wish I knew. I'm still learning, and damn, if you can figure them out before you're 30, you're in business. Hope you found that helpful. I apologize for the long video, but there was a lot that I wanted to get off my chest. Let me know in the comments what your favorite of the lessons was, and if you feel like I missed something essential, let us know in the comments so other people can benefit.